Michael Jackson, the eternal icon of world music, didn't just mesmerize the world with his one-of-a-kind voice and legendary dance moves. He also remained someone whose private life sparked endless curiosity. Behind the spotlight, there are many lesser-known stories, including rumors that he shared close and possibly romantic connections with several well-known male artists. These whispers reveal a different, more emotional side of the pop legend, offering a deeper look into the human being the public rarely saw. Now, let's explore the surprising and touching stories hidden behind that iconic stage brilliance. In that era, openly expressing one's deepest emotions was almost impossible for a world-famous artist of color. A dancer who once worked closely with Michael shared a memory. There were nights in the hotel when he would just sit quietly for hours, saying nothing. He told me, "Freddie's voice feels like my own thoughts, raw, messy, yet beautiful. It's not about wanting to possess someone. It's just a feeling that makes you feel less alone." In those rare moments, Michael allowed others to see his most vulnerable side, the part he usually kept hidden beneath the flawless image the world expected from him. Michael never spoke about Freddie in any interview. However, in an internal note while choosing songs for a private show, he circled one of Queen's tracks and scribbled, "He understands the pain I carry." Just a single sentence, but enough to feel that some emotions are meant to stay unspoken. So what do you think? Do you believe Michael Jackson may have had close, deeply personal connections with several well-known male artists that he chose to keep private? If you think yes, comment 1. If you think no, comment 0. And don't forget to like, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. Your support gives us the motivation to uncover more untold stories behind the legends you love. Some connections don't need a label. They're not exactly love, not exactly friendship, just a presence that brings peace to a restless heart. For Michael Jackson, Luther Vandross was one of those rare people who gave him a sense of calm in a life where he was constantly expected to shine. Behind the thousands of flashing cameras, the sold-out tours, and the overwhelming pressure, Michael was often pulled into a world where he never truly felt he belonged. The world saw a phenomenon, an icon, the king of pop. But very few truly recognized a man named Michael, someone quietly searching for a place where he could simply rest and breathe. Luther Vandross was a legendary voice, silky smooth like velvet, yet he remained a remarkably private person. In the 1980s, when many soul and R&B artists were openly sharing their personal lives, Luther chose to stay quiet. Part of it came from who he was, and part of it came from knowing how unpredictable and unforgiving the entertainment world could be for a black artist. He and Michael Jackson first crossed paths backstage at an event in New York in 1983. One music director recalled that they barely spoke. They simply shook hands for a long moment, like two people reconnecting after knowing each other in another lifetime. A former friend of Luther once said, "He doesn't know how to connect with someone who has never truly been present." That haunting line might explain why the gap between him and Michael only grew wider. Michael seemed to drift further from reality. Neverland, his pet chimpanzee, strange and extravagant ideas, while Luther preferred staying grounded and quiet in a noisy world. And whenever people asked him about Michael, he didn't respond. He would simply smile and remain silent, a silence that said far more than words ever could. Although nothing was ever publicly confirmed, one assistant once recalled Michael saying, "He makes me feel at peace inside. I can't find that in anyone else." It was one of those rare moments where he hinted at his true feelings. Not about fame, but about finding comfort. After Luther passed away, A handwritten note was reportedly discovered in a notebook that later went to auction. "You taught me stillness. I never learned how to keep it." No one knows for sure if Michael meant those words for Luther, but people close to him believed it was a soft goodbye to something deep and meaningful, something too fragile to survive under the bright lights of the world. Luther was one of the rare people who could bring Michael real peace. A former bodyguard shared, "There were nights when they'd sit by the piano, singing songs no one else had ever heard. Michael once said, 'Don't record it, just remember it.'" Those were moments that never happened under the spotlight. Not for fans, not for a project, not for a paycheck. Just two artists sharing something deeply personal. One studio staff member recalled that Luther was the most authentic version of himself whenever he was with Michael. No walls up, no hesitation. Just two black men in a mostly white industry, seeing in each other a kind of understanding they couldn't find anywhere else. From then on, they showed up together in places where no cameras were allowed, private parties, low-key studios, quiet late-night sessions in a Manhattan apartment. Luther wasn't someone who wore his emotions on his sleeve, but with Michael, he didn't have to say or do much. Just being there was enough. His presence alone became a safe space for an artist who often felt isolated. People never saw them hug or hold hands, but a gentle touch, a shared laugh, the kind that lingered, was enough to make others stop and wonder, what is this really? Nobody really knows why the two of them eventually stopped showing up together. Maybe their schedules pulled them apart. Maybe the emotions shifted. Or maybe that quiet sense of peace they once shared just faded. But even later, in certain performances, Michael still slipped Luther's music into the background. A quiet nod, a silent thank you. Some connections don't need to be defined, labeled, or made to last forever. They just need to be strong enough to change us and gentle enough to help us keep going, even if only for a short time. Don't think of Michael Jackson as someone who was always reserved, shy, or stuck in his own shadows with no escape. There were moments, rare, bright, and fearless, when he stepped straight into the heat like a moth drawn to flame. No audience, no roaring applause, just him and another artist, Sylvester James Jr., the disco legend from San Francisco who never asked for permission to exist. He dared to sing, live, and shine with everything he had: wild hair, glittering outfits, and a soaring falsetto that sliced right through judgment and prejudice. At Club Trocadero Transfer, a legendary home for San Francisco's creative scene, several DJs remember witnessing something extraordinary. Michael and Sylvester stepping onto the dance floor together, no introduction, no spotlight. Just two kindred spirits moving in sync. Michael wasn't dressed to impress that night, just a white shirt and jeans. But he couldn't take his eyes off Sylvester's loud, unapologetic laughter. A choreographer who worked with them once said, "Sylvester is wild, completely free. But when he's around Michael, he goes quiet, almost reverent, and Michael watches him like he's staring at a flame." A music archivist shared that in an old leather notebook once put up for auction, there was a line written in dark ink, like something confessed in the middle of the night. "I can't dance like he does, but the way I look at him feels like dancing inside my chest." No one has ever confirmed who that line was meant for, but anyone who knows their story understands. This wasn't just a casual encounter. It was a quiet storm moving through a man's heart, leaving the scent of rain behind. The connection between Michael and Sylvester was never talked about publicly, maybe out of fear, or maybe because they both wanted to protect something pure that only they could keep for each other. After that encounter, whispers started spreading that Michael often slipped back to San Francisco, staying in a long-term villa in Pacific Heights, just to spend time with a few special people. And Sylvester was one of the familiar faces there. Staff members, from the driver to the butler, shared the same fragments of memory. Nights filled with music and no sleep, followed by mornings wrapped in a strange, calming quiet. No one could say for sure what they were to each other. A friendship, a spark of curiosity, or an unnamed feeling that didn't fit any label. Yet in an unpublished manuscript of Michael's, there was a handwritten title, Private Star, and beneath it, words now barely visible. He makes me feel like I can wear colors, even if only once. Sylvester wasn't someone looking for approval. He made the world face who he truly was. And that, according to those who knew him best, was what drew Michael in. At the time, Michael was starting to step out from the shadow of the Jackson 5, diving into the disco scene not just to chase a new sound, but to chase a sense of freedom. Maybe in that moment, he didn't just find freedom, he found himself. While searching for material for his first album with Quincy Jones, Michael began quietly slipping into underground clubs, places without applause or cameras, just deep bass, flashing lights, and people losing themselves in endless rhythm. For Michael, someone constantly weighed down by expectations, stereotypes, and the pressure of being a role model for an entire generation of black artists, Sylvester embodied the complete opposite. He was bold enough to shine, to stand out, to be real, to be different. Maybe that contrast is what made their story both dazzling like fireworks and delicate like smoke fading into the sky. People say Michael once invited Sylvester to record a demo, just piano and falsetto harmonies, but it was never released. After Sylvester passed away, the recording vanished too, rumored to be tucked away somewhere in Michael's private archives. One lived by following society's rules, while the other broke every one of them. They were like two ends of a struggle, each fighting to be true to themselves. Someone once said, "Michael doesn't just avoid the world, he avoids the parts of himself he's not ready to face." If that's true, then Sylvester was the first, and maybe the only, mirror that made him see that truth. That the spotlight was never the brightest place to be. That somewhere in a dim corner beside someone brave enough to live honestly, his heart once beat freely, before he became the king of pop, and before the light grew so blinding that it burned away what was left of his private self. Before he became a global icon, Michael was just a young man spending long hours in old studios, where the sound was pure and emotions were still untouched by fame. During that time, Jermaine Stewart entered the picture, quietly, without ever trying to steal the spotlight, like a soft, refreshing breeze. Once a backup dancer for Shalimar, and later a solo artist known for the hit "We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off," Jermaine carried an unspoken gentleness. He was the kind of person who was always there, yet never needed to be at the center. There was someone who was simply real, never trying to show off. Over time, their closeness became something people around them couldn't help but notice. The quiet dinners at an apartment in West Hollywood, the moments sitting side by side in the car backstage, the long silences where nothing was said, yet everything was understood. One band member once recalled, "There's something unspoken between them that everyone on set can see. It's not loud, but it's always there." In a memoir published in 2003 by a producer who worked closely with both of them, it was written, "Michael found in Jermaine a connection that didn't need to be explained." always smiling, always humble, always keeping just enough distance, as if hiding a secret world behind his eyes. Michael noticed him the very first time they met, not because he tried to stand out, but because he didn't try at all. Their paths crossed in the late 70s when Jermaine was just a young dancer and Michael was caught between two worlds, fame and loneliness. According to a former Jackson family assistant, Jermaine was one of the few people who could make Michael laugh with just a look. He never flattered, never performed, and never treated him like Michael Jackson, only as Mike. They never needed public validation for what they shared, and maybe that's what made it feel real. No contracts, no spotlight, just two people finding each other in a rare moment of calm amid the chaos. To Jermaine, Michael wasn't a superstar, just a person. And to Michael, Jermaine never had to prove anything. His quietness was enough, a soft kind of presence. It was the kind of connection Michael would rarely find again. Not after the studios became polished and emotions turned into something packaged and sold. Between Sylvester, radiant like fire, and Jermaine, gentle like a cool breeze, Michael once stood in the middle, choosing neither, yet carrying a piece of both within him. No pressure, no expectations, just calm. The entertainment world back then, though not as ruthless as it would later become, was still a place where any hint of ambiguity about identity could end a career, especially for two black men. Michael was stepping into the very core of American pop culture, a place that demanded perfection, strength, and the hiding of any vulnerability. Jermaine understood that line all too well. He was gentle, but not naive. He knew the limits of emotion in a world that showed little mercy. Though nothing was ever made public, those close to them believed that Michael and Jermaine once shared a moment in time, undefined, unnamed, yet deeply real and quietly theirs. If this story moved you or sparked your curiosity, don't forget to hit the like button to support the channel, share your thoughts in the comments, and pass the video along to other Michael Jackson fans like you. Your support inspires us to keep creating exclusive, in-depth, and emotionally rich content about music legends. And be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. Not loud, not dramatic, just two people who could sit together in a small room listening to the same song for 3 hours without saying a word. Once, in a diary entry indirectly quoted at a Michael exhibition in Europe, a line written in blue ink read, "I feel like I can breathe when he's in the room. I don't have to perform. I can just be myself." Many believe those words were meant for Jermaine Stewart, but that moment didn't last. In a handwritten production note he left behind, there was just one line. "He taught me how to sit quietly without feeling out of place." Not every connection needs photos, music, or words. Some are like ink seeping into paper. You can't see it happen, but you know it's there. For Michael and Jermaine, all they needed was a moment of calm. A small corner untouched by the spotlight where they could simply exist as themselves before the storm of fame swept in and carried away their most private moments. No one was to blame. No one tried to hold on. Yet the memory of each other never truly faded.